this afternoon. Yeah, he's there all day in a crate with no bow tie on. He didn't even get to eat breakfast. No, because they have to sedate him. So, so sad. It just stresses me out every time I have to do it. I'm gonna be okay. I'm gonna be okay. It's probably not because it's gonna rain really bad. All right, let's see. Welcome back to class. Today is my favorite section, my favorite day of notes over this unit. I am biased to this day because I like the stuff you learn. The words are not crazy like they were the other day. This is something you can use to sound cool to your family in real life, so I'm a fan. But my prompt for you for today is, after completing your mini fish research assignment that you were supposed to have done by midnight last night, what fish did you complete your assignment on? And then tell me if you learned anything cool, like share something cool about your fish. There's 22 people in class, 15 people on the pair deck, 11 people have answered. See, the blue tang fish, they can change color. Lionfish, yeah, lionfish can produce up to 2 million eggs per year. They are very invasive. They are not good. I think they're also poisonous. Let me change my background and let me carry you over to this other part of the room. We have a lionfish poster in the classroom. It says, "Stop the invasion," because they're overtaking ecosystems, especially in Florida. So many cool things for this unit hanging up in our room today. I'm going to be trying to show that in the bottom corner of the screen throughout the lecture today. All right, let's see. The ribbon eel. They're black as juveniles, blue during the male stage, and yellow when they're female. Ooh. A recently discovered fish named after a Japanese folktale, which I cannot pronounce. Navagobus kagiwa. I butchered that. The Moorish idol, nothing super cool, just that it confuses its predators. The pufferfish, they have spines in their body and carry toxins. We have a pufferfish in the classroom. I'll show y'all later. The blobfish, they have a human-like face. When close to the top, the blobfish looks human and is known for being the ugliest fish. The clownfish is, if born male, they have the ability to change female. We will talk about that. We have notes on that next week. Siamese fighting fish, they can breathe air. We're going to talk about an air-breathing fish today, a different one. Salmon have specialized skills to adapt to salt and fresh water. Ooh. Mandarin fish, they dance and flash their colors to attract their mate. All right, pretty cool, pretty cool. Learn some cool things during this unit. It is lots of fun. I highly enjoy it. Okay, so we are still in Unit 7. We started it on Monday, fish anatomy. We've already done fish classification adaptations. I will keep posting this schedule or list or whatever you want to call it of things we're going to be doing leading up to our test, which is on the 15th. So we're doing fins and body shapes today. So we're going to start off with fins, and then we're going to move to body shapes. We're going to talk about different types of fin, their purpose and their placement. But overall, fins are controlled by muscles. We're not going to go in depth on different types of muscles and blah, blah, blah. This is not marine biology. This is aquatic science. This is not a college class. This is a high school class. So we're not going to go crazy into depth on like muscular structures of fins, but we're going to talk about different types and their purposes. So each fin is moved by a set of muscles, and those muscles can allow the fin to control mobility, allow it to move, stability, keeping the fish upright, and maneuverability, allowing the fish to make turns or spins. All right, so fins have the ability for mobility, stability, and maneuverability. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and move on. Got lots of other things to learn. All right, the fins are in two different categories. The categories include paired and unpaired fins. So either it's going to be look like a single fin by itself. It's typically along the midline, or it's going to be a paired fin where there's like one on each side of the body. So there's typically going to be two of the same fin. So what I want you to do is circle the two sets of paired fins on this fish. So paired, it's like a pair, there's more than one. And unpaired, it's like a lone fin of its type. All right, let's see. Good job, Larissa. Good job, Steve. Good job, Rylan. What? No, you got it half right. Instead of half wrong, you got it half right. So positive. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and reveal the answer because we have lots of things to learn today. Boom, the paired fins are here. It's the pelvic fin underneath. You can see the paired fins is a little easier. And then this is the pectoral fin. These are the fins that were made famous by Nemo on Finding Nemo. And we're going to talk more about those as we go on. All right, so we're first going to talk about all the unpaired fins, and then we'll talk about the two paired fins. The first fin we're talking about today is the dorsal fin. It is found on top of the fish. It is unpaired. Sometimes you might see them with what is called a double dorsal fin, so they might have more than one dorsal fin, but if there's not one on each side of the body, it doesn't split the midline, so it might just look like two humps of a dorsal fin. This prevents them from spinning or rolling. All right, so pretty much it helps keep them upright and stabilized. Helps with change in direction. On every slide, there's gonna be a hand, every slide I'm gonna tell you the name of the fin, where it's located, if it's paired or not. I'm gonna give you some information about it, and I'm gonna kind of bold and highlight key things that you should know, and then it'll be pictures. So on the pictures here, we have the first picture on the top that is a single dorsal fin. You can see it is slightly spiny because you can see the little pokey things sticking out on top. They use the spiny dorsal fins for protection, and they're not like devastatingly dangerous to humans, at least not for all fish. But if they poke you, they can make you bleed. So that's why when people catch fish, they kind of slide their hand over the head of the fish and push those fins down. The second picture is a picture of a double dorsal fin. All right, most fish have one, but a handful of them have two. Rarely will you see three. I'm going to remove my background because I have some pictures of fish. All right, so while some people are writing. So this fish here has one dorsal fin. It's really long along the back, but the first part of it is a spiny dorsal fin for protection. This one also has a long dorsal fin on the top, but it's a smooth one. And then this one as well has a single dorsal fin. It's a lot more extravagant on the back part, but it does have a spiny dorsal section in the front. Sharks are the ones who made dorsal fins famous with their fin that sticks up out of the water in the movies. All right, circle the dorsal fin. I have more pictures of fish around the room, but don't want to take them off the wall. All right, 11 out of 19 responses out of 25 people in class. And everyone that has everyone but one person that has responded has gotten it correctly. I'm gonna go ahead and move on for time's sake. Boom, it's the one on the top. This one's a kind of weird looking dorsal fin, kind of more shark-like than the other ones I showed you, but this is a dorsal fin. Next up is the caudal fin, also known as the tail fin. It's on the tail. All right, it's called the caudal fin. This one is unpaired. There's just one of it on the back. This is the fin that helps move them through the water. It gives them the power. It propels them forward. Next week, we're going to talk about swimming styles and how the different shapes and styles of the caudal fin and the body shape depend on how they use it to swim. There's a variety of shapes of caudal fins, and depending on the shape of the fin, dictates how fast the fish will be. The more forked the fin is, the faster the fish will be. So looking at this diagram, can anyone in the chat box or can anyone unmute themselves and tell me, out of these fins, which one is the fastest shape? Caudal fin, tail fin, used for power. The more forked it is, the faster they are. The lunate, yes, the lunate fin is the fastest fin. Good job, or caudal fin. Some of the pictures I have of the fish that I have in class, this first one, it has a round tail fin, so not very fast, or caudal fin. This one is an indented, slightly indented caudal fin. It may be a little, oh, is he upside down? Yeah, maybe a little faster, but not as fast. And then this one has a squarish, roundish caudal fin. So not the fastest fish, but they're good at turning. All right, so boom, circle the caudal fin. They're good at turning because of their body shape. Why you see these kinds of fish near coral reefs. We're gonna learn about it. What? We're gonna learn about today, the body style. All right, let's see, 13 out of 19 responses, and boom, everyone's got it correct. So I'm gonna go ahead and move on. It is the tail fin, it's at the back. This fish here, is it fast? Can you assume if it's gonna be fast or slow? Fast or slow, anyone? I'm gonna give you a chance based on its caudal fin. I'll give you a chance to answer in the chat box and we'll move on. All right, next fin, the anal fin. Yes, the anal fin. It is located underneath the fish near the tail. Makes sense. And it is unpaired. It is a single fin. Now, this fin can be really small. This fin could be absent, or it could be really long and like fancy looking. Like betta fish have super fancy fins. And then you have some types of goldfish that have really fancy fins. They're not the fastest fish, but they use their fins for mating, for attraction. The anal fin is used for stabilization so the fish can swim straight. One thing I remember when I think of this fin is like a surfboard. Anyone seen a surfboard? Underneath the surfboard on the back, they have what they call fins on the surfboard. And they use those fins to help them stabilize. Depending on the size and the shape of the surfboard, there might be more or less stabilizing fins on it. My dad is an avid surfer. He's in a surfing club. My dad does lots of cool things. So there's long boards, there's short boards. The shorter the board, the more you want to turn, the more fins you have, and they're located on the back, on the bottom of the surfboard. All right, we're back to this fish. No one answered my question except for Melody in person. This would be a faster fish because it has a forked caudal fin. But what I want you to do now is circle the anal fin for me on this fish. Another name for this fish is a farron fish. The scientific name's on the bottom. All right, let's see. 15 responses, and boom, everyone's gotten it correct. So it is this long, fancy fin on the bottom, towards the back, towards the tail, and this is the anal fin. Two more fin types. We have the pectoral fins. They're on the sides of the body, behind the head. This is a paired fin. This is a fin that became famous because of Nemo. All right, they work like arms and legs. When I think of pectoral fin, I think of tucking my arms into my pecs, and then it's like a fish. They're used for turning and braking, kind of like a parachute. They open up when they want to brake. Some fish have unusual adaptations to these pectoral fins. An example would be sea robins. They use them to crawl on the ocean floor. And flying fish use them to glide through the air, which gives them the name flying fish. I'm going to show you some pictures of them. All right, so pectoral, the Nemo fins, they're used for turning and braking, and then some fish have cool, unusual adaptations for these pectoral fins. Some fish use a combination of these pectoral fins and the next fin we're going to talk about, which is pelvic fin, and they can do some pretty cool things. I'm going to show you a video of that. Are you good? Okay. Here's the pictures of the flying fish and the sea robin. The flying fish literally flies. It uses its caudal fin to provide that power to push it up out of the water, and then it expands its pectoral fins, and it looks like an airplane. And you see it's like torpedo shaped, cut through the air and the water, and then it glides. I've seen these when I've been on a cruise ship. They're a lot bigger than you think they are, and then when they're so when they're gliding, they look all shiny and glistening. It's pretty cool. And they can like go 50 plus yards, 100 yards. Like they can go for a long time out of the air, depending on how much power they get. And then they fly. Looks like they're flying in the air. Then you have the sea robin. They use their pectoral fins, and they use them to help them walk on the ground wherever they live. They can swim, but they need, if need be, but they typically just walk. Pretty cool. I have a cool video for you later on, so I don't want to spoil anything. All right, circle the pectoral fin. Yeah, first paired fin, but you can only see one here. I will say pectoral fins will always be behind the gills. They won't be in front of them. All right, 9 out of 19 responses. 11. Thus far, everyone that has answered has gotten it correct. I'm going to go ahead and reveal the answer. 12, all correct. All right. Yes, the pectoral fin is behind the operculum or behind the gills, behind the head, kind of closer to the lateral line. You can see the lateral line on this fish, and it's right here. The other one would be in the same spot on the other side. All right, last type of fin is the pelvic fin. Pelvic fin. I remember the pelvic fin because it's underneath the pectoral fins, and your pelvis on your body is underneath your pecs. All right, so it's another paired fin. Pelvic is paired, pectoral paired. So it's beneath the pectoral fins. It's used for stabilizing and braking. So a lot of the fins that are like along the top and bottom of the fish are used for stabilizing. Some have special adaptations, once again, to help with perching, walking, and some use it to be cool for mating. Some fish don't have a pelvic fin because they don't need it. An example would be an eel, because eels live in tight spaces and holes and crevices. They're like they hide and attack kind of fish. And so they don't need a pelvic fin, and it helps with the lack of the pelvic fin allows them to hide in where they need to without getting caught or damaging themselves. All right, so pelvic fin is paired. It's underneath the pectoral fins. Use it for stabilizing and braking, but there are some fish that use it for different purposes, and it's pretty cool. All right, so circle the pelvic fin. And 11 out of 19 responses. Oh no, one person got it wrong. It's underneath the pectorals. All right, so 15 responses, pretty good. All right, so I'm gonna show the answer. Boom, it's these paired fins below the pectoral fins, underneath, right there. All right, so there's a short video here that we're gonna watch. Pay attention to the fins that are used and how they use it differently than if swimming in water. Once you get to the part of the video where the tiny version of this fish, it's a mud skipper. Once a tiny fish is like digging a hole in the ground and spitting mud everywhere, that's where you stop the video, okay? I'm gonna mute myself. I'm gonna show it here in person, then we'll meet back together when it's done.
A mud skipper, a fish that spends most of its life out of the sea. It can walk on land and breathe air. Its life is very different from that of most fish. A fish out of water, maybe, but they thrive here in Japan. So what's made this upheaval worthwhile? The answer lies in the mud. As the tide retreats, it exposes mud flats. Sunlight hits the rich silt, and tiny plants and animals flourish there. All food for a mud skipper. But life on land is not without problems. It's hard work to find a mate. Jumping high above the mud will get you noticed. With eyes perched on the top of their heads, The mudskippers keep a lookout for both friend and foe. And males fight those who intrude on their territory. They must also take care not to dry out in the sun. Rolling in the ooze keeps the skin cool and moist. For this smaller species, a better option is to retreat underground.
All right, at this point, that video should be done. You don't want to watch the little one spitting out dirt. So these are mud skippers. I'm going to move on to the next slide. They have cool adaptations to several of their fins. Their caudal fin uses to generate powder, so for them to jump up off the ground, as you saw in the video. In water, they still use it for power, but they use it for swimming, not for jumping. Dorsal fins, they can be used as protection because of if they have a spiny dorsal fin, but up here they use it to stay upright so they don't flop over in the air. And they have their pectoral fins that they use to help them turn. But their pectoral and their pelvic fins, if you saw in the video, they use both of them to help them walk on the mud. So pretty cool. Pretty cool. All right, so we're going to move on to body shapes. We talked about fins and fin placements. Where next is body shapes. Fish have body shapes that are most suited for where they live and how they feed, like how they get their food. So depending on that, like their environment depends on how their body shape will be. We'll go over several different types. The first one we're going to talk about is fusiform. Fusiform. It's torpedo and streamline shaped. These are the fast swimming fish. They're able to cut through that dense water, because you remember water's 800 times more dense than air. They're able to cut through that water. And because they are streamlined, they are good for fast, continual swimming. And you'll typically find these fish living in more open water because they're able to swim quickly and maintain speeds over long periods of time based on their body shape. So they don't have to use as much energy to cut through because they are torpedo shaped. Also, typically, not all the time, but typically for these style fish, you are going to see that they have a very forked or lunate caudal fin to help with that fast speed. So here you can see the swordfish, and like slash marlin, or the fastest fish in the world. They're extremely streamlined with that nice pointy nose, and they have a lunate and forked caudal fin. Same thing with sharks. Sharks have a nice torpedo shape that literally torpedoes were designed after, pointing at the front. And then they have that nice forked caudal fin at the end to help with swimming power. All right, so fusiform, torpedo-shaped, fast, open water living fish. Next is compressiform. You might also hear, and when I say might, you will also hear the word laterally compressed. Compressiform, compressed, it makes sense. These are ones that are flattened from side to side. So I think of laterally, like do activity, you move laterally side to side. So these are ones that are smushed from ear to ear pretty much. These fish can turn easily because of their body shape, and they move very quickly. Their tails, their caudal fin doesn't quite, like the style, isn't designed for like long distance open water swimming with high speeds, but they are quick moving fish. They can turn very fastly or very easily. These fish will typically live around wrecks, coral reefs, rocks, because they're able to move in and out between the obstacles with ease because of their laterally compressed or compressed bodies. Examples I have here are the butterfly fish and the blue tang, aka dory. There are lots of different varieties of fish that are compressed or compressor form. But these are the two examples I have here. Also, there's tons of fish that are fusiform. Those are the two most common shapes that you'll see. So they're the first two on the list. All right, so compressor form, flatten from side to side, they can turn easily, and they live in areas where they can use the ability to turn easily to their advantage. Next up is depressive form. Depressive form, it's laterally flattened. So flattened, when someone's depressed, they're sad, they're low. These fish are low to the ground, they are flat. So they're flat from top to bottom. They live on the bottom because that's how they're adapted to be. They lie on one side with both eyes on top. So a huge misconception here is that their mouth opens with like the top of their mouth going towards the sky and the bottom of their mouth going towards the ground. That is not true. They are laying on their side. So their mouth opens from left to right, even though both of their eyes are on top of their head. So it gives it a weird little look. If you look at the halibut, you can see its mouth is open. So you can see that left to right mouth opening because they are laying on their side. When they are children and they're babies, they have eyes on either side of their body, but their eyes migrate and move to one side because that's how their body is adapted to live. And that's how they look. I have a video of this, so I will show it to you. We have the flounder and the halibut. These fish, as you can see, since they live on the bottom, they're very camouflaged in order to survive. They either match the coral reef around them or they dig themselves into the sand. So they're not very fast. Not with that body shape. The fusiform is the fastest. All right, so I'm going to show you a video on the next slide. As you watch the video, identify unique adaptations to depressiform fish. So if you look at this picture here real quick before the video starts, its eyes are on the top and its mouth does open from like left to right because it's always laying flat. So the ground would be underneath it. I'm going to show the video. The next two, like this video, we have one more. They're like less than 2 minutes long. So when you're done with the video, meet back here. I'm going to mute myself while I show it. And after this, I have 3 more body styles.
Flounder. The very word makes the fish seem helpless and confused. And that's just what they want you to think. Their thin bodies and camouflaged scales help them look like the seabed. Once within range, they strike with sudden speed. This is a shrimp, aka dinner. The flounder hides under a thin covering of sand. Only its eyes peek out. Strangely enough, when a flounder is born, its eyes are on either side of its body. As it matures, one eye migrates to the other side, giving it the characteristic flat shape that allows it to hide so well. The shrimp senses danger, but it's too late. But the flounder's hungry movements don't go undetected. This osprey senses an easy snack. The flounder attempts to disguise itself again, but the sands are too sparse and the water too shallow. The eater is eaten, and the cycle of life continues. while other, better disguised flounder live on.
Bam. So it's a fish, eat bird, eat human, eat all circle of life world out there. So that flounder, as you saw, it looked like a dorsal fin sticking up out, but it was its pectoral fin. It kind of looks like a sail. So it is laying on its side and it has some cool adaptations in order to survive. Yeah, hope you enjoyed that video. Next up is the elongated fish body style. This is how elongated, long and thin. This is very common for eels. The shape of this body allows them to hide in holes and crevices. So they're going to live in areas with like narrow spaces, like near rocks, coral reefs, or possibly even shipwrecks. And so they're like lie-in-wait predators. They wait in a hole. You don't think a fish could fit in, and then boom, they pop out. The examples here would be the fin-braided moray eel and the trumpet fish. Right, they're long and thin. Some of these fish will not have a pelvic fin because they do not need it. It does not help them, especially since they are hiding and they live in narrow spaces. So elongated fish, most common type you think of is an eel. The next body style is square or truncate shape. They're square in shape. They rely on camouflage because they're not very fast because they are square shaped. Fusiform ones swim a lot faster because they're streamlined. This truncates or square one, not so much. So they live in areas where they are best camouflaged. The examples here, we have a trunkfish and a stonefish. A trunkfish is super cute. You kind of think like this, a trunk is like square, rectangle-ish. Or back in the day, they called luggage trunks, and they're square and rectangle-ish. So it is a square-shaped fish. They're slower. They live where they're best camouflaged. The second one is a stonefish. Very, very, very poisonous. They heavily rely on camouflage. They are very ugly. You can kind of see its mouth here on the screen. The eyes are really hard to see. If we were in person, I would outline it on the board. But I do have a short video to show you of the stonefish. A stonefish is technically square-ish shape. So if you see this later on an assignment, just know it is square or truncate shape. I'm going to show you a video of it so you can see it in action, so you can actually see its body style. So here's the mouth. The eyes are like actually right here. And then this body is in here in this caudal fin. It's just a lot. All right, so we're gonna watch this short video on a truncate fish. So it's a stonefish. If you're online, go ahead and click play and watch it, and we will meet back here soon. And then we have one more slide.
To the casual observer, not much is taking place in these waters. But it only appears that way. A closer look reveals something remarkable. The reef stonefish. The stonefish spends its days lying near rocks and coral, or burrowed in the sand, hiding in plain sight. Its warty, bumpy skin is nearly indistinguishable from the sand and coral surrounding it. It's an amazing adaptation. In addition to excellent camouflage, stonefish claim the title of most venomous fish in the world. The unclad foot of an unwary water enthusiast is a prime target for its powerful toxin. But otherwise, the stonefish is content to remain motionless until a small fish swims by. And quick as a flash, the stonefish gets a snack.
All right, so as you saw, the stonefish is also a lion weight predator because they're really slow. They're very venomous, and then just pop up out of the ground or the sand, and they eat other fish. Very, very, very poisonous, and they are truncate shaped. The last body style and the last part of the notes for today is globiform style fish. Globiform style fish. They are round in shape, think a globe. They depend on camouflage as well because they are slow swimmers. An example here, I have a porcupine pufferfish. I have one in class, so if you can see me on the screen, we have our porcupine pufferfish in the flesh. It is a preserved pufferfish. It is not mine. It was left in this room when I got to this class. When I look underneath, I don't see. Let me turn it. Yeah, unless it got messed up in preservation, I've never seen a pectoral fin or an anal fin on this fish. It does have its, did I say pectoral? Anal and pelvic fins. It does have a pectoral fin, it does have a caudal fin, and it does have a dorsal fin. It is very sharp, even in its preserved state. And so if you ever come in person, you can see our pufferfish. Yeah, it's been preserved. Very dangerous. Like those spikes, even preserved, are very sharp. They hurt. All right, so that was the last part of the lecture for today. It's my favorite one. So fish fins and body shapes, saving that. Boom, boom, done. So if you don't mind joining me back on Teams, I am going to show you your assignment for today. Whoops, stay logged in. If you go to the hub, week 15, day 2, we did the fish fins and body shape lecture. You're gonna do a labeling assignment for homework that's due tomorrow by 11:59. The notes are on here and the assignment's on here. If I go to the assignment and open it, it has the assignment name here. It says complete the following slides by properly naming the fins and body shapes. So the first one, you're gonna be labeling fish fins. There's also the lateral line, eye and mouth. I mean, eye and mouth are pretty easy. Lateral line, you'll have to look at Monday's notes, and then the other ones are there. So this is a drag and drop style assignment. So you're gonna drag the name over to the answer. Then we're done with the fins. And then we're gonna label body shapes. I have several examples here. I'll go back. Labeling fins, you'll use all the squares. On the body shapes, you won't use all of them. I'm giving you more than you need. And you're gonna so this fish, pick one, label it. This fish, pick a different one. So they won't have the same name, they'll be different. And there's 2 on each slide for this. I did add something like a seahorse here because they are a fish and they have a very unusual body style that we didn't talk about today. So you're gonna have to pick the answer from below. Do process of elimination. We have these as well. This is a stonefish. So if you're doing your assignment, this is a stonefish. So you know what to do. Here's some more. And then I used some real life pictures for you to choose from to also label. Not as many options on this, to choose from down here. So it should be easier. You're going to use all but one for the real life pictures. All right, so there's 3 different names. And then there's the grading scale. So depending on how many you missed, what your score will be. All right, does anyone have any questions? Yeah, that's your assignment. Pretty easy. Because that's all you have for me this week. That's it, we're done. All right, if you don't have any questions, that's all I have for you, and you can leave, and I hope you have a good day. All right, everyone left on here. I'm going to go ahead and hang up. I hope you have a good day. If you have questions, let me know.